valuing benefits. The willingness to pay for an environment, or how much you value an environment. So I'm focusing on environment because our main subject is the environmental economics. So there are three types of valuing benefits, that is use value, non-use value, and the option value. First, to go on with the use value means whether you use that environment resources that is given by an environment directly or indirectly. So that is the value you have from using that environment, be it directly or indirectly. So how much willingness are you having to pay for this direct or indirect use is known as use value. Now under that, there are two types, that is direct and indirect. I've mentioned earlier. Direct is suppose right now I'm using this environment as a background. For my video, and even so we used to people collect firewood from forest as well. They also collect like topsoils for their flowers at home. So these are all the resources that is given by the environment, and we are directly using that environment and deriving the value. So for deriving that value, we will have some willingness to pay for that. So that is known as the direct value. And the indirect value is you don't use that environment, but your willingness to pay for that environment, mainly the services that conserve the biodiversity, erosion control. So these are the services that are mainly emphasized on preserving or conserving the environment to mitigate future disasters related to this environment. So for that also, indirect value, you will be willing to pay for that. So right now you are not using that environment, but you're simply having willingness to pay for that indirect use. So that is known as indirect value. Now we are done with use value. Now coming to non-use value. Non-use value means, by the word itself, it means now you are not using that environment, but simply, even if you are not using that, you have some willingness to pay, because as there are two types, existence value and becost value. Because of these two things, you're willing to pay for that environment. First, the becost value means this environment, I just wanted this environment to be the same even when my future juniors or future generations come here to study. So that is actually the becost value, because I'm willing to pay for this environment to be same for the future use by the future generation. So that is the becost value. Or for instance, you wanted to protect an swimming river for the future generation to swim. That is also becost value. Now the existence value is simply knowing that such beautiful places, for instance in Bhutan we have Tagala, Pomola and other many rich biodiversity, and if I wanted to preserve these things, I'm willing to pay for these things simply because they are existing. Knowing that they are existing, I wanted to pay for that. That is known as the existence value. Now we are done with non-use value. I'm coming to existence value. I'm not using that environment, but simply that I know that these places, such wilderness areas and rich biodiversity or endangered species exist. I'm willing to pay for that, even if I'm not using. So now coming to the last option value, means you're willing to pay for the environment because you simply want to visit in future. For instance, I'm willing to pay for conservation of Pomola area because I want to visit in future. So these are the three types of valuing benefits. Thank you.